Hello, hello. It's the CEO Mind Shift. We're going to give everybody just a moment to get on. Grab a pen. You're going to need that. You're going to want to probably take some notes today, like we did yesterday. So excited to see you here. By the way, let me know if you're here. Give permission to StreamYard so I can show your comments if you'd like along the way. I am delighted to spend the next 30 minutes mind shifting you into existence. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Judy. Glad you're here. Hey, friend. Right back at you, Lori. Glad you made it today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad that you're here, everyone. Let's give it just a hot minute for everybody to get caught back up, whether you're watching live on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube. Welcome. If you're catching the replay, delighted to have you here as well. Speaking of, so if you watched last night, yesterday afternoon, maybe even this morning, who knows when you did that. We started yesterday talking about the shift into how we think about our world as a CEO versus an employee. This isn't just about business. This is how you consider your life, those tasks, those things that shift that you do every day. How is your attention like this, or is your attention like this? Are you just filled with all the mess, or can you see the vision? This bleeds into every aspect of your life. So, in speaking of that, I'm curious, what is one aha that you had from yesterday? So, yesterday you had your first part of your roadmap. Part of that was considering, okay, where am I in this? What am I doing? What's an employee task? What is a CEO task? Are there things that I can be giving away? In fact, I gave you some journal questions on page 2 of your roadmap that really let you kind of settle into why you might do what you do, not just from a shaming perspective, but knowledge helps us grow our awareness, right? So we always want to be in that space. So if you had an aha from yesterday, throw it in the comments along the way. Do want to remind you that when you are here on live, you get your name in a drawing. On Friday, I'll pop on real quick and do a drawing for some goodies. There's going to be more than one, so you have more than one chance to win. That could be free coaching, it could be a program, it could be some access to programs for no money at all. Aren't you excited? So be sure and stay tuned. We have a lot to get through today, so I do want to honor our time and in 30 minutes or less, letting you live into this CEO mind shift. Let me ask you a question. Do you work all the time? I mean, be honest with yourself, because it means you're working all the time, even when you're thinking about work, when you're not working, because that means your brain is working on overtime. Telling yourself a little bit, are you working all the time, or does your brain think that you need to work all the time? One of the clear signals that you're on a fast track to an unsustainable existence, from your life to your work, health challenges, and burnout, is working all the time or feeling guilty whenever you're not working. Right? Is that you? Oh, thanks, Lori. Okay. Thank you for telling on yourself. Yeah, it is absolutely a clear signal that something's amiss. Sometimes our body knows before we do. I said a couple of weeks ago at an event when I was speaking, I said, when this happens, it's I want you to think about it like you are an airplane. You yourself are an airplane. Okay, you're high up, you're at 30,000 feet. You're flying on your last fumes of jet fuel. Think about this for a minute. What happens to a plane if it runs out of fuel mid-flight? Disaster, right? Yeah, disaster. It's the same with human beings. We can't fly on empty for very long because soon we'll crash. So it could be that the joy goes out of our life, relationships, our business, our vision that we've been chasing. And you can't do that for very long. You can do it for a little bit, but you can't do it for very long. So you might begin to feel like, oh my gosh, just another day, right? Like I'm a slave to my lifestyle. Worse, you might even feel as if the harder that you work, the more work there is to do, right? So instead of being in that place where, gosh, I'm working really hard, I'm pushing in this part of my life right now, because I know that next week, next month, it's going to look different because this is just a short-term thing. But what happens is, when you keep working and now you're at a pace where you can't ever take a step back, and that is when we fall back into that employee mindset that we talked a little bit about yesterday. Overwhelm, right? Distraction. You begin to pile on the stress. Any of this sounding familiar, right? And soon we're caught in this look squeaky hamster wheel, right? We're always running, but we are not getting anywhere. And beyond that employee mindset we broke down yesterday, we might even be putting the covers up over our head in an ostrich mindset, right? So how many of you have ever felt like an ostrich? Just type me or yes, like you're just putting your head in the sand, like there's too much, so I can't look at it all. There's too much, I'm just going to walk away. Right? Tell on yourself just a little bit. Yeah, thanks Jen, 100% familiar, okay? All right? Okay. Now, let me ask you another question. In the last 6 months, have you felt overwhelmed for longer than a day? Yes? No? Is that you? The great CEOs all know that regular self care helps you avoid mental as well as physical exhaustion. Let that sink in. We really and true you're hilarious, Lori. Really and truly, seriously, the great CEOs know that self-care is the key to staying in the game. So you can avoid mental exhaustion, physical exhaustion, creativity exhaustion. And you can't be a shining example to your clients and your family and your community when what you're actually modeling in the real world is a blatant disregard for your own physical and emotional well-being. Boom. That's a big separator in great leaders. If you say one thing, but what you're actually modeling is blatantly disregarding, right? Then there is a big problem in your life, a big problem. Oh, Lori. Okay. Dr. Sandra Smith. Okay. 7 types of rest. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, Jen, you are absolutely on money. So when you are in this space of overwhelm and tiredness and not taking care of yourself, you are actually, pushing away good things from happening to you. That's a great way to frame it. That's a great way to think about it. So a regular self-care routine, it does a couple of things for you. And there are really some aspects of regular self-care. This really does go to a CEO shift. Okay. So I'm gonna share a couple with you. If you got a pen, you might want to jot these down. But when you are in this space of a regular routine, just like brushing your teeth, just like putting on your shoes, right? When you look at self-care as important as those things, it allows you to refill your well of creativity. It allows you to recharge your physical, spiritual, and emotional batteries. It allows you to be more productive in a shorter daily time frame. Believe it or not, it will allow you to become a better goal setter, getter, and achiever. It will allow you to prioritize more effectively. And it will allow you to refill your confidence well so that as you're doing these things and becoming better and being more present, your confidence will also rise. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. And then finally, what it does is it boosts your self-respect because when you're standing in that space, you can only take care of you at the end of the day. And if you don't have respect for your own self, for how you're showing up in the world, right? All these other things fall by the wayside. Your self-respect is the key to confidence, right? And when you begin to do these types of things, you'll no longer feel like you're that hamster, right? You're going to fill yourself up. That refilling confidence well, right? So if you're not in that space, I would look to your self-care and see, what am I doing? Right? Do you want to be healthier? Do you want to be happier? Do you want to be more in love with your life than ever? And your business, sure, but in your life. If that's true, and I know that you're all craving that, or you wouldn't be carving out these precious 30 minutes, then let me give you one consistent habit that you can add right now today that's even easier to put into practice than creating an entire self-care practice. Are you ready for this? Here it is. You have to establish a quitting time. Establish a quitting time for yourself every day, even on a holiday, even on the weekend. And even if you only work part-time, you have to establish a quitting time for yourself. Your brain needs a break. And if it doesn't know that it's supposed to be on break, it won't go on a break. And that's when, like, when you're doing the laundry and you're like, oh, well, maybe I should check my phone while I'm doing my laundry because I can't take the time to even fold a pair of pants. Right. And I know, believe me, there is nothing more luxurious than clocking off without guilt. That's what setting a consistent quitting time will help you do. And get this, if you don't do this, you don't actually know how your work is costing you in money, in clients, in relationships, in all of it. Because if you just allow yourself to constantly work and you're not getting compensated for that, and I mean like with joy, much less money, you don't know the cost. And you're not helping your company or the person that hired you also understand the real cost of doing this kind of business in the world today. You have to have an established quitting time, right? Yeah. Yeah, Jen, thank you. I feel like I would need weeks on end of self-care to recover the damage I've done. Yeah. Yes. We all have damage around this. That's a good way to say that, right? And it starts with this, literally, this is so easy. I know it feels hard. It's so easy. Establish a quitting time and then see what happens. Because if you've overscheduled yourself, you'll know. If you've overcommitted yourself, you'll know. If nobody notices that you quit, well, gosh, then hey, then that's great. And it's all up here telling you have to keep going, you have to keep doing. Do you see the way this works? So let me give you an example. Let's decide that you are going to power down your laptop every weekday at 7 p.m. no matter what. Well, then if I was your coach, I would say to you, okay, well, what's stopping you from that? And you would need to track that to know that. What day did you do it and what was around that that allowed you to? And when you weren't able to do it, what also was going on, right? Nothing is so critical that you have to work every minute of every day. And I mean nothing. Give yourself at least a couple of hours, 2, in the evening to unwind, to hang out with your family, to take care of yourself, to eat a healthy meal, to read something fabulous, to breathe, to walk. 2 hours out of 24, that's all I'm asking for. Now, I know some of you may have to start work earlier in the morning to do this. All right. So you need to make that happen. That's on you. Choosing when you start your day and end your day is completely up to you. Now, I know that sometimes you might have a meeting, like you've got a monthly meeting, and that meeting doesn't allow you to clock off in your normal thing. Well, that's okay, because when you start to do this, what you do is you just shift things around. So maybe you're not going to get 2 hours at night. So you take 2 hours in the day, or an hour earlier in the morning, and then an hour once you're able to clock off. You still work for this framing. And research continually shows that most of us, not all of us, most of us achieve far more in the early hours of the morning than we do the rest of the day. So like if you're a mom with young children, or you've been a mom with young children, you probably already know this particular truth, right? That hour or 2 filled with silence when everyone else in the family is still snoring in bed can be absolutely golden for creativity and for getting things done. Now, of course, I know that establishing a solid quitting time, it goes hand in glove with setting regular work hours. I get it. I'm not even asking you to do that right now. What I'm asking for you to consider is that maybe part of your employee shift to a CEO shift begins with a quitting time. Because if your answer right now, if you're feeling resistance to this, that it's not always possible, be sure that you know why it's not possible. Is it because genuine emergencies come up? It could be. That's okay. But I hope that you're not, if you're constantly living in emergency status, then we need to reframe how you're thinking about your day, right? Unless you're an ER doctor. But even ER doctors have time on and time off, right? Or is it because there are things that are avoidable, but you didn't make the space and the time to consider those things? Is there maybe a faulty belief that you're operating under that maybe you could change, right? Have you sold yourself on the own lie that you have to work like this? Or are you suffering from reactivity? Meaning, oh, there's a thing. Oh, there's a thing. Oh, there's a thing, right? That's a big savior complex, right? Or are you going along with everyone else's workflow? so that you feel like you have to answer that email at the last second, or you always have to answer your phone, or you have to get that text message right away. And I would say if you were also the person that sends a text message and then an hour later is like, well, I sent you a text, maybe somebody has good boundaries, right? Just take a breath, take a moment. Yeah, think about I have a client right now that I'm going to tell on that it really struggles with this kind of aspect of being in the world, and regularly allows clients to push the envelope on their sessions. Okay. So think about it this way. If you have, let's say, 6 clients, if that's your world and you have clients in whatever way, shape, or form, you have 6 of them in a day and you plan to work 7 hours. And that 7 hours includes half an hour for lunch. And maybe that 7 hours includes half an hour to put out any fires or make notes in between clients or make essential phone calls. Do you see what just happened? It's essential that you have to stick to those 1 hour time slots when you've booked people. Simple math, which I even have a hard time doing, isn't even required for you to figure out what would happen if you let each client run 5 minutes over, much less 15, 20, or 30 minutes over time. Not only will your schedule be thrown off, but the rest of your clients, they have their schedules thrown out of balance too. Think about when you sit in a doctor's office. This happens all the time, but you're doing it to yourself, right? When you don't understand how much time you've given to something and you don't make a different way of being a priority, then you get stuck in that employee mindset. And it's clear when you start doing this kind of work, when you begin to track, that you need to do something about these types of sabotaging habits, right? You've allowed your own self and other people to trample all over that. Now, I could teach you probably 4 hours of content on boundaries, and I do that in one of my courses, but you are the problem and you are the solution here, okay? So if you are having problems saying no, if you are dealing with emotionally charged people who don't give you an opening to wrap things up, then it is incumbent upon you to say, maybe with these people, just let you know I might interrupt you. Take charge of the situation. Literally interrupt them. But in this scenario, can you see how this can be part of a bigger problem? If you can see how this is a problem, type yes in the chat. Even if you're watching on replay. Yeah, we're going to be talking about procrastination here in a minute, Lori. Type yes in the chat if you can see how this kind of squishiness allows you to devolve when it comes to care and mindset, right? Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Jen. Then. Okay. So, hey, Stephanie, good. Glad you're here. Yep. Okay. Now, I've set the stage for you today, right? The one thing that affects all areas of your life is not being able to establish a schedule. And it starts right now with establishing a quitting time. And that's even with people. That's even with your favorite Netflix show. I mean, I remember years ago when 24 came out, and you couldn't binge watch it then, but then I would record it so I could go back and watch it again. And you just want to stay up, and you just one more episode, and just one more episode, and suddenly it's 3:00 in the morning, right? You are the problem. You are the solution. So if you have problems saying no to clients or customers or workforce people or your own self or your family, you will have problems saying no to everything. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you. Thank you. So, and you know what else you're going to have problems with? You're also going to have problems saying no to your inbox. You're going to have problems saying no to distractions. And when you start having the problem of saying no to that, you're not saying yes to your dreams anymore. So even if it's just one area of your life where your boundaries are too elastic, that ripple effect, like I was just sharing with one of my clients, can have this kind of widespread consequence. And actually, this is the most common way that this little insidious habit of not saying no to yourself or others impacts your business life, your mindset, and it puts you in a burnout condition, if not an actual tailspin. So maybe right now decide, can you do this hard work? Even if you feel right now that there is no hope of cutting back on the hours that you're putting in at this stage of your life, I want you to do yourself a huge favor right now and at least establish a cast in stone regular quitting time, barring any crazy emergency. Honestly, this is one of the best steps that you can take toward regaining control of your schedule, practicing healthy self-care, and acting like a CEO. Lori says that she literally has a pop-up on her phone that tells me to turn off screens. Yep, exactly. Sometimes you have to do it in the most basic of fashion to get yourself into this habit. So let's talk about this key. So this is the second day. We're on the second of 4 keys. And that I've been leading up to this, which literally is clear your calendar. So you might want to write that down. There's no need for you to have calls 5, 6, 7 days a week. There is no need for you to work 7 days a week. Instead, you want to be building up a schedule that allows you to at least have a couple of free days or moments so that you can regroup. This also goes for all of your employees. This goes for your family too. Remember, all of this starts here and it bleeds over into every aspect of our lives. It doesn't really take a long search about those best practices that I've been sharing about top billionaires and business dynamos who understand the absolute imperative of shutting down and shutting off in order to let that creative wall recharge. So, there's a couple of different aspects of that. You can take yourself away and go to a distraction-free environment, right? You can walk away from the world and do that however way, shape, or form that you want to, and really take that dedicated time. Maybe it's once a month or quarterly to do this. Maybe you don't have that luxury in your life. So maybe you just take a day and you go to a hotel room, or you get in the car and you put your voice memo on and you just kind of, instead of writing everything down, if that's all you can do, you get it all out, you capture it in some way. Or maybe you create some pockets of hours of work in your schedule where you aren't interrupted and let your brain catch up with you. And when you're doing that, the point is you're still having established quitting time. Because the point is, when you clear your calendar regularly and periodically, it's an essential strategy for recharging your energy on all levels. That's spiritually, that's physically, that's mentally. And it's a very powerful self-care strategy. And without this piece, you can work on your mindset all day long, but you have to have the framework to follow. Now, I get you might not be able to lock yourself away from the world for one day to process your life, but I know that you can at least block off periods of time in your schedule. If you decide you're not going to work 24/7, suddenly you have a pocket of time. And there's a ceiling to how much money you can make with this approach, and it will burn you out if all you do is show up all the time. And another unfortunate side effect of not clearing your calendar is that necessary jobs pile up. I know it sounds counterintuitive, so stay with me for a minute. Maybe you realize that you didn't respond to that request that came through email. You put off your bookkeeping again because you're putting out one more fire, or because you can't manage your to-do list and you don't understand your priorities. It just goes by the wayside. Or maybe you're going to be scrambling at tax time, finding missing receipts and trying to figure out what certain charges were for, but you're like, you know what? I'll just do it that way anyway. It's fine. You don't answer emails. You don't follow up on opportunities to promote yourself or your business. You don't follow up on social calendar, exciting things with friends and family because, oh my gosh, you've got to keep yourself busy. You've got to keep yourself distracted every minute of your workday. Anybody feeling me here? When you start clearing your calendar, it allows you to think about things that are and are not working in your life and your business in a much more organic fashion. So when you can take some time and hole up in your family cottage, that's fine. And really ponder issues you may have been ignoring, fine. But also maybe just taking an hour every day, which goes back to getting up an hour earlier, right? And when it becomes this regular event, you begin to look forward to it, right? In the same way, when you regularly unplug yourself, your subconscious will anticipate brainstorming, right? This is neuroscience. It will allow creativity to come through. It will recharge you. Now, note that I said regular. We want to try to take on a specific day of the week, even if it's a morning or an afternoon that's yours alone, completely unplugged, so you can do that CEO big vision work we started yesterday. And my suggestion is to take a notebook and a pen with you, or at least get fancy with your phone and understand how to do voice memos, because I'm willing to bet that that's the time when you're going to remember important things you need to take care of, right? But you're not going to go take care of them then. You're just going to jot them down. You're going to keep on being unplugged, right? You're going to start getting new ideas for your big dreams, for a program, for a product, for a partnership, for promotion, right? You're going to think up, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't think about this. This will make life so much easier. You'll realize where you're wasting valuable time by doing those shallow tasks that could easily be done by, let's say, a virtual assistant or a contract employee. You may find yourself making lists of those tasks. And then, as we started yesterday, then your job is to delegate them, to outsource them when you get back to your home or your office. But the key to making this work is not to plan it as a work session. Let me say that again. The key to making this work is not to plan it as a work session. You just need to let the realizations and the thoughts and the ideas flow naturally. And in the meantime, enjoy your unplugged time. Okay. And you can schedule these and give, if you've got a team around you, maybe if you're able to do this, let them have a chance to do this too. This will help stave off burnout anywhere on your team, and you'll be able to congratulate yourself when you see a powerful increase in productivity and well-being, which is what will happen. So another aspect to this important kind of key of shifting into self-care as wellness mode as CEO mind is to create a joy toolbox. I talk about this all the time. And I don't feel like I can talk about it enough because I still see people not implementing this. So think about it this way. You probably have maybe a pack of Band-Aids stashed somewhere, maybe some antiseptic, maybe you have tummy meds in a cabinet somewhere, or a headache remedy, right? In the house when you have an urgent need. Well, your joy toolbox is a way to pre-plan for self-care. So here's the way that looks. You want to give yourself permission to have little joy breaks throughout your day. It will instantly lift your mood, and it's going to help reduce your stress. It will recharge your energy, which then allows you to see new possibilities. And the key to this is a joy toolbox, right? That's what it is. So what you do is when you're thinking about your time, right? And you've established your quitting time, but you're beginning to feel stress creep up in the day. That's when you whip yours out. And it could be whatever it needs to be. It could be a bag, could be a drawer, right? Mine has, you've heard me talk a lot about, I have a little bag of confetti in there. I can throw it around. I have an affirmation word color book. There's some chocolate in there. It has some fun notes that people have written to me over the years. It even has some Play-Doh in it. It has a timer for me so that I intentionally create the time to do that. Sometimes that'll be throwing myself my own dance party, or I do karaoke, or I run around the house with the dogs. Whatever it is, it gets me out of that moment and gets me back to joy. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe once said that things that matter the most must never be at mercy of the things that matter the least. And if you're running around as an employee all of the time, you are not spending time in mattering. Okay? So joy should be primary here. And since it should be, I make time to make sure that I've prepared for joy breaks. So they're literally in my schedule. And when you're clearing things off of your calendar, you want to put joy breaks on, because that's going to recenter you towards that extraordinary vision that you need to do of the CEO of your life and your business. And literally these 2 steps that are part of this key are hacks you can make today. It'll shift your mind towards joy. It's crucial. When you start caring for yourself, you're better able to care for your business and your relationships and your friendships and your fur babies and your family. And when you care for yourself and you make joy priority for your lifestyle, the effect will be huge on those that you care about. And in fact, when that happens, more people will want to come towards you in your life and your biz, and boom, suddenly you're that awesome CEO. It's amazing how it works. So today in your roadmap, you're going to identify some space in your calendar by considering what needs to go. You can't do everything, but what can you do, and what does only you need to be doing? Remember, we started this work yesterday with defining our tasks, and then I asked you to put them in employee column and CEO column. And now we need to make sure that as we recreate a mind shifting, that we have joy and we have care for ourselves. Is this making sense? Threw a lot at you today. I hope you took good notes. We've got about 3 minutes, 2 minutes or so. Is there anything burning that you need some clarification on? Do you understand what you're going to do? In just a few minutes, I will shoot that email over to you. It will have that clickable PDF. You just click it, it opens up, and it'll walk you through its 2 pages again today to get you thinking. If you didn't do yesterday's and you don't have the email, please let me know. Yeah, so many notes today. Yeah, Steph, and I went really fast. So in your email will be the recap video. You can just push play right there if you need to go back, and you can forward through, and catch those tidbits that you need. Thank you for letting me know that as well. Okay. Did you just breathe with me? I hope you did. Let's do it again. Ready, everybody? Even if you're in your car and you're just listening to this, just keep your hands on the wheel, but put your arms up. Just breathe for a second. Pull your shoulders back. Do some cactus arms, right up and down, right? Maybe roll your neck a little bit. Okay. Let your body show up for you so that your mind can help show you where you need to go, so that your energy will uplift, so that you will continue to change the world. I believe in you. I believe in you. Yeah, no problem. That's why the recordings are here. I'm so glad that you're here. All right. Remember, tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central, right here, as Jen said yesterday, same time, same bat channel. Thank you, Jen. Great tips. I appreciate that. We're all in this together. You know how to reach me if you need some clarification. 30 minutes tomorrow. Please show up for yourself. I'm Suzanne. I'll see you tomorrow. This is the CEO Mind Shift.